Are you ready for this? I feel like I gotta ask this time around because of reasons. Chapter 13 The Encounter. Grabbing my bow and my phoenix circles, and Link equipped with the Master Sword, I kissed little Link, said a few words to Ruto, then Link and I headed for Lake Hylia and the Water Temple. We went to the stable to grab our horses. Since Epona was carrying, I saddled Star Dancer and Link saddled Midnight Star. Mounting our horses, we left the sanctuary of our house and made our way through the blinding snow. The storm had kicked up again. It was very cold and the snow knee-deep. The wind whipped our cloaks around as we pushed onward. Visibility was next to nothing. I could barely see Link in front of me. "Jenna, are you okay?" Link yelled over the howling wind. "So far I'm okay, but I can barely see anything in front of me," I yelled back. "Just follow the sound of my voice, my love. I will help guide you." Listening to Link's voice, I was able to follow him. We kept at a steady pace, pushing through the deep, wet snow. I wrapped my now damp cloak around me, trying to stay warm. After some time, we finally came to the fences leading to Lake Hylia. By this time, the storm had died down, so visibility was much better. Link made Midnight Star come to a complete stop, causing snow to kick up behind the stallion's powerful hooves. Pulling back on the reins, Star Dancer came to a complete stop just a few feet behind Link. "Why did we stop?" I questioned. "We need to jump these fences, but with the snow as deep as it is, I know Midnight Star can make the jump, but do you think your mare can handle the jump?" Looking down at my mare, I patted her on the head and stroked her mane. "I have full confidence in her, Link. She can make the jump." "Then let's go!" Link yelled. Backing up his horse, Link prepared for the jump. When he had enough distance, he booted the horse in the legs. "Stop kicking your horses in the fucking legs!" And ran towards the fence guarding the lake. With a kicking up of snow, the black stallion flew gracefully over the fences, leaving a trail of mist behind him. Bringing the horse to a stop on the other side of the fences, he looked at me. "Now you make the jump!" Nodding, I backed up my mare and prepared for the jump. When I had enough distance between the fences and I booted my horse in the legs. "I told you to stop doing that!" and bolted towards the fences. Just before I reached the fences, a cloud of snow kicked up behind my horse's powerful hooves as she made a rough jump over the fences. Link then took off in front of me and called for me to follow. I watched as the lake slowly became visible. Wow, she's watching it render. "How are we supposed to get inside now?" I said as we dismounted. Pulling out his bow, Link knocked an arrow of fire and shot it at the lake. Steam rose up as the fire melted the ice between its fiery rage. "Well, well, Link, you're full of surprises," I said with envy. Link smiled and then knocked a few more arrows and shot them one by one into the ice, creating a hole in the ice. "Now we can get inside?" Link inquired. "That is not a question." "Wait a second, Link. Isn't the door to the temple underwater?" Link nodded. Do you suppose we are going to get in there?" You really know absolutely nothing about Link's adventures, like, at all, do you? Walking back over his horse, Link reached into his saddlebags and pulled something out of it. Turning back to me, he threw a blue-looking cloak at me. "Put that on." "That's the Zora tunic. It allows the wearer to breathe underwater." I looked down at the tunic in my hands, wondering if it would work. "Are you sure that it's going to fit me?" Looking back at me, his eyes seemed to glow. "Don't worry, my love, it will." Looking back down one more time, I slipped it over my dress. "You brought a fucking dress in the middle of a snowstorm to fight a monster underwater!" God! No. I can't just walk away. I have to keep going. I can't leave this unfinished. Then I walked over to Link, just as he finished putting his on. "Now the entrance is at the bottom. The only way to get down there is with the iron boots." "Iron what?" I asked with curiosity in my voice. "The iron boots are boots made of iron, to help the wearer be heavy enough to walk on lake bottoms." "Oh, that's amazing. You never cease to surprise me, Link, my love," I said with a little giggle. "Now, since there's only one pair, you'll have to hang on to me, or you'll just float back to the surface." Nodding, I watched as Link equipped the iron boots. When he was ready, I grabbed onto his arm, and we made our way into the lake. The boots made a loud clopping sound as we descended to the lake's bottom. Walking on the bottom of the lake made me feel a little uneasy, but I had confidence in my husband's abilities. When we reached the temple gate, I looked up at the blood-red jewel sitting above the entrance. A slight shiver went down my spine as I stared at the ghoulish-looking thing. Hugging onto Link, we descended into the temple. As we walked further into the eerie temple, a wash of unease ran over me. "Where do we go from here?" I said as I held onto Link tightly. "I'm not sure, but my best guess is that we should head for that strange room." As we descended deeper into the water temple, I started to feel as if someone was watching us. "Link, do you feel as if we are being watched?" "Yeah, I feel it. I also feel a presence as well." "He's here, I can feel it." Feeling my cat-like instincts kick in, I raised my head up and sniffed the air. "You're right, I smell something foul." "He's close," I said, lowering my head. "Closer than you think," a sneering voice called from within the temple. I jumped at the sound of the eerie voice echoing through the corridors. "Come out and show yourself! I know you're here!" Link yelled as he unfastened the Master's sword in its sheath. "Ha ha ha ha! The so-called hero of time has returned to challenge me," the sneering voice called out again. "You're more of a fool than I thought." I had begun to shake as the sneering voice continued to vibrate through the temple doors. "Fool? You're the fool! Why don't you show yourself?" Link screamed as he unsheathed the Master Sword. Just then we heard a shuffling sound behind us. Then the next thing I knew, I was struck from behind and all went black. When I awoke, I noticed I was lying on the floor, bound hands and feet with rope. Looking around the room, I saw Link sitting next to me was bound as well. I tried to tug at my bonds, but it seemed no matter how hard I tried, the bonds seemed to tighten. "It's no use, Jenna. I already tried," Link said in a faltering tone. "It seems that we are a prisoner of my mirror self." "You are so right," called the sneering voice again. Just then a figure appeared in the doorway to the room. "So, the hero of time is now my prisoner. How I have waited for this day. The day when I would get my revenge on my counterpart." I watched as the shadowy figure moved forward, revealing an exact copy of Link. Although the copy was darker, wearing a black tunic and hat, those blood-red eyes shone with pure evil. As he approached Link, the look of him made me shiver in fear. "What are you going to do with us?" Link said with hatred in his voice. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with you yet." Then he glanced over at me, his blood-red eyes piercing into my soul. "But I think I have plans for that beautiful wife of yours," the mirror image said with amusement in his voice. "Oh, by the way, you can call me Dark Link." Just then Dark Link strode over and bent down beside me. "Such a beautiful creature," he said, putting his hand on my chin, lifting my head up to face him. I shot him a look of hate. "I have plans for you, sweet thing," Dark Link said as he ran his hands seductively down the side of my face. "What the hell are you talking about?" I looked up at him. His red eyes seemed to glow with an evil desire. "Oh, I have special plans for you. You will soon find out." He begun to laugh, a laugh so hideous that it made my skin crawl. Realizing what he meant, my eyes grew as big as saucers. "I want nothing to do with you in that manor," I cried as I spat in his face. "You bitch! You'll pay for that!" Whipping the spit from his face, he backhanded me, leaving a stinging sensation on my cheek. "How dare you hit my wife?" Link screamed. "Well, it seems you're in no condition to do anything about it," Dark Link said with humor. Then the dark being faced me again. "I will be back for you real soon." Running his hand down the side of my face again, he smiled, then got up and strode to the door. "Now don't even think of trying to escape," he said with a smirk, then walked out. I looked over at Link. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know. He took my sword and I cannot break my bonds." "It seems we are at Dark Link's mercy," Link said as his face faltered. "I will not concede to defeat," I cried as I twisted forward. "I don't want to either, my love, but I'm at a loss for what to do." I was beginning to grow concerned. The thought of what hideous things Dark Link might do to me sent shivers up my spine. I tried to tug at my bonds again, but to no avail. I was beginning to think that all hope was lost when a glint of something shiny caught my eye. I peered deeper into the darkness on the other side of the room. As I pushed myself away from the wall and slinked across the floor. When I got close enough to see the shiny object, I realized that glints were coming off the gems on my phoenix circles. It seems that in his haste to remove our weapons, Link seemingly forgot to take my phoenix circles with the rest of his weapons. Why? Why would he leave those behind? Why would he leave any weapon behind? I still don't know where these fucking things came from, but why do I even care at this point? Link, look! Over on that table across the room. It's my phoenix circles, I said as I leaned forward. How do you suppose we're going to get it? We're still bound, Link reminded, looking at my bonds. The feeling of my cat instincts washed over me again. Gracefully, I leaned forward until my mouth met the bonds around my ankles. Slowly, I took part of the rope into my mouth and began to gnaw at it. Quickly, I chewed my way through the rope, knowing I had to make haste. I had to break my bonds before Dark Link returned. After some work, I managed to chew through the bonds around my ankles. I got up and staggered over to the table where my phoenix circles were sitting. Turning around, I took one of them into my hands and worked around until the blade was resting against the bonds around my wrists. Taking it, I slowly managed to cut through my bonds. Putting my weapon down, I rubbed my wrist to soothe the pain from the slight wounds that came from when I tried to break the bonds. Link, I'm free! Grabbing my weapon, I walked over to him. How did you manage to break your bonds? Link asked with shock. Well, I owe it all to the training I had while I was traveling. Bullshit! That is some supreme bullshit. Now it's time to break your bonds. Reaching down, I placed the blade of my phoenix circle against the bonds of Link's ankles. Snapping the ropes off, I motioned for Link to turn around. Placing the blade against the rope, I sliced it off in one swift swipe. Rubbing the wrists, he looked at me with a smile on his face. You're amazing, my love, he said with a smile. I walked into Link's arms and kissed him. Then his expression changed to a serious one. Now we must get out of here and find the rest of our weapons before Dark Link returns. Nodding, I grabbed my phoenix circles and followed Link as we slowly made our way to the door. Inching his way to the door, Link checked to see if anyone was coming. Coast is clear, let's go, Link whispered. Slinking our way down the corridors, the echo of Dark Link's taunting voice lingered in the air. We must hurry! This way! Link pointed towards a hallway with a light shining at the end. Winding through the shadows, we came upon a lighted room. Quietly, Link opened the door. Peeking inside, we saw what was a sight for sore eyes. There on our table sat our weapons. Oh my goddesses! There they are! I said as I ran inside. Link, the Master Sword is here along with our bows! Reaching over, I grabbed my bow and quiver. I swung the bow over my back, then threw the quiver over my shoulder. Then I grabbed the Master Sword, his bow and quiver, and handed them to Link. Link took the sword and buckled it over his back, then swung his bow and quiver over his shoulder. Unfastening the Master Sword, Link removed it from its sheath. He took the sword and swung it through the air, listening to the rushing sound it made as though it was cutting the air like a knife through butter.
Get on with it! Yes, get on with it!
I'm just glad to have my sword back, Link said as he swung it one last time before sheathing it. Now let's get the hell out of here. Just then the door swung open. Going somewhere? There in the doorway stood Dark Link. I thought I told you two to stay put. An evil sneer crossed Dark Link's face as he eyed us over.
Phrasing?
I don't take orders from the likes of you, Link sneered back. You will be after I'm finished with you. Just then Dark Link drew a sword with remarkable likeness to the Master Sword. At that point, with Dark Link holding a sword just like the Master Sword, I begun to think this is one battle Link could not win alone. Why? Seriously, why? Drawing my phoenix circles, I made a daring charge at Dark Link. Feeling my cat-like instincts kicked in, I jumped gracefully into the air, aiming my weapons directly at his face. Just before I managed to strike, Dark Link raised his sword and blocked my weapon, causing a clank of metal and sparks to fill into the air. Falling back, I swiftly rushed forward and high-kicked Dark Link in the face, causing him to go flying back into a wall. Staggering back up, his face twisted into an evil grin. So, you want to play rough, do you? He said, wiping the blood from his mouth. I can show you just how rough I can play. A flash of white light surrounded the room, causing Link and I to be blinded. I felt myself being lifted into the air as if someone was carrying me. I heard Dark Link's sinister laugh ring through my ears. Then all went black. With unblinking eyes, I stared into the blackness of the room I was in. Cold water shivered around my ankles as I walked around. Pushing my way through the darkness, I listened for any sounds that might be my love, Link. Link! Link, where are you, my love? Link, are you there? I cried out into the darkness, but all there was silence. Continuing to move forward, I finally found myself standing in front of a strange tree. Looking up at it, it looked twisted and ugly, as if it was a tortured soul. Its twisted branches stretched out like clawed fingers, as if it was trying to grab something. Backing up, the cold water brushed against my legs, causing a cold chill to run up my back. Just then a chilling laugh pierced the darkness. Looking back towards the tree, a black figure slinked out from behind it. Its chilling blood-red eyes sent a chill deep into my soul. Dark Link! Where the hell am I? And where is Link? I sneered as raising my phoenix circles up in front of me. Snapping his fingers with a sudden light filled the room, lighting up the surroundings. A sudden shock ran through me. Oh, my goddesses. This is the strange room Link described where he first met his counterpart. Then something caught my eye. Looking over my shoulder, there, bound to a wall over the way out, was Link. Oh my goddesses! Link! I tried, clopping my hands over my mouth. What the hell have you done to him, you bastard?
I told you earlier, if you want to play rough, I will show you just how rough I can play.
An evil glint rose in Dark Link's eyes, the flame of hatred flickering in them.
If you want to save your love, then you must defeat me.
Eyeing him, I poised into a fighting stance, placing my phoenix circles up in front of me. I knew I was in for a long battle. Wow! Jenna's attempt to make her character seem more badass and more strong and independent sure is backfiring a lot. Next week, we'll see just how bad it gets. By the way, how many of you are fans of Avatar? How about Kamen Rider Wizard? If you're a fan of either one of those things, then you are going to hate the next 2 chapters.